I felt that God had given me, He had birthed this in my heart at a young age to do this, and I really felt confident this is what I was supposed to do in my life. It was kind of a knife in the chest. You know, you work so hard to go through all this, you have kind of a dream in mind, and then you get to the end of the road and you're going to see where's the pot of gold, or where's the yellow brick road that I'm supposed to follow, and it didn't happen. At the age of 8 years old, I had it in my heart that I wanted to be a doctor one day. So that's really the confirmation I had at that point. I had a lot of strong desires at that early age. Said, this is what I want to do. I want to become a doctor, and I want to help people. I want to serve them. I want to help them get better. I didn't know the capacity of it, what level of being a doctor meant at that point. And I had really always thought when I was 8 that I would go into medicine. But at that point, I went, it was during my senior year of high school, I went and observed some different offices. And as I did that, it really kind of geared me towards more into the dental field. And in my mind, I wanted to devote more of my life to my family. I wanted my profession to be able to provide means to be able to give them what I wanted to provide them. But I certainly didn't want that to be the monopoly. I didn't want that to be the primary focus of my life at that point. And I started realizing that orthodontics was that aspect of dentistry that really was more tailored to who I was, because I had a desire to want to help others and see changes in others. I really didn't like the idea that people were coming to me because they were in pain, but rather coming to me because they had a problem that I could solve for them. I've always been a big puzzle solver. In fact, I watch Survivor on TV, and I look at the puzzles they have to solve, and I'm like, man, I'd just go in there just to try to play those games. I started realizing that that's the one aspect of dentistry that's like a puzzle. You have all these teeth that you have, and you got to get them to fit together. They don't fit together right when you receive it, but you got to get them to fit together right when you're finished. When I got to that point in my life, I started realizing that orthodontics is the road that I wanted to go down. I just felt like a part of me had finally arrived, that this is exactly what I'm supposed to do. And I knew a banker. He was a good friend of mine, VP of a bank, and I went to him and I said, I need to borrow some money from you so that I can set up a practice. I really wanted to set up my own practice. And he said, Jeff, I can't make it work because you don't have anything to show. You got $85,000 in debt, and so I couldn't actually borrow enough money to set my own practice up. It was kind of a knife in the chest. You work so hard to go through all this, you have kind of a dream in mind, and then you get to the end of the road and you're going to see where's the pot of gold, or where's the yellow brick road that I'm supposed to follow, and it didn't happen. And so to hear that, it hurt, but it didn't break me. It didn't break me at that point, and because what I realized is that I felt that God had given me, He had birthed this in my heart at a young age to do this, and I really felt confident this is what I was supposed to do in my life, and I knew that I was going to make it. I didn't have any doubt that it was going to happen. I just didn't know how it was going to happen. So to hear that just meant that, okay, I've come to the fork in the road. And I can't go to the right, so I said, well, the left, what was the option to the left? And the option to the left was to find another option. How do you get into practice if you can't start your own practice? And so at that point I knew that it was pretty simple. I needed to find a practice that I could go into. I could buy into or become an associate and eventually maybe buy the practice out. So I took a map of Orlando. I plotted out on that map every dental office in town. I plotted on there every orthodontic office in town. I plotted on there every school in town. Again, kind of that puzzle mentality of mine. I was looking at the whole puzzle. And I wanted to see where was the best place to fit that had a need. And so when I called Dave Olson up, and he and I just clicked together perfectly, and realized that this was a great opportunity for me. And the reason it worked, because it still costs money to get into that practice, of which I still would have to borrow from a bank, but it was substantially less because it was 75% of it was going to be seller financed. And so it gave me a new sense of hope. I had that little bit of rejection. It had redirected me, but I wasn't going to lose faith. I felt that I felt very strong in believing that this was the purpose, that I was on the right path, and I had not gone down the wrong path, so I just needed to find a new way to get to the end result, and that's what brought me down that path. Doing orthodontics, had total confidence. I knew I graduated from the University of Alabama. They have a great dental program, a great orthodontic program, but nobody teaches business that well. That aspect is a little bit of a fear factor of sorts too, is do I have what it takes to make this business continue to run? When I got into the practice, bought it from Dr. Olson, and during that year he showed me how to basically run the business. And that is one of the greatest benefits I could ever have received from him. He showed me how to run a practice, and here we are now 16 years later. You know, when you face fears in life, they're either going to break you down or build you up, is what I think. I can see that as an opportunity to fall into that fear and in a sense, let the fear overpower you so that it can change you down a path that you are hesitant to make decisions. You are slave to that fear, and that is what really drives you in all of what you do in your interaction. Or you could choose to not let that fear subdue you, but rather be master over that fear. And I think that's probably what I learned through that whole process, is that I really had nothing to fear, and God gave me strength. He provided this opportunity for me to go into this practice, and I feel like that was His direction, and that practice, taking over that practice, was His purpose for me. Amazingly, some of your greatest blessings in life come from adversity, different situations where you're faced that might seem to be a bad situation becomes a blessing. Your greatest challenges mold you into something better in the future. Well, the greatest aspect of being an orthodontist is seeing someone come in with a problem. And that may be the way their smile is, the way their teeth fit together, something that they are concerned about, that they're not happy with. Being able to take them through orthodontic treatment, and then to the day that you can get their braces off. That right there is the greatest joy that we get, is seeing that metamorphosis, that caterpillar to a butterfly of sorts. Seeing that individual come in that wouldn't smile much when they first came into our office, and then seeing how open they are now and how beautiful their smiles are, and seeing how excited they are about their new smile. That is the greatest joy that we get. So the most amazing part of my life is my relationship with Jesus Christ. He is the one I can put my focus on and say that He is the answer for who I am today. You know, I'm an orthodontist, but deep at heart, you know, the other thing is I'm just a servant. And so He is probably my greatest focus, and I would say second to Him would be my family. My family is very important to me. My wife, Sally, and I have 4 kids, Chandler, Amber, Savannah, and Jaden, and they are really what make everything worthwhile for me to continue my focus of what I'm doing in my life, so that I can provide to them a life that they can then have impact to others within the world.
Let's just say Dr. Jeff Martin may know how to straighten out people's teeth, but he's not showing too many signs of confidence in learning how to operate a boat.
Does anybody know how to start this thing? Honey, I think you just hold this.
I'll just hold it? Okay.
Yeah, it won't pull you out of the boat.
Yeah. Whoa! Hey, whoa, Mr. Man.
He's like, I know how to start it, bro.